Finches are common and well known not only in the United States, but all over the world. People see them often around their homes, in their gardens, and at their bird feeders, and there's a lot of varieties of them to see and find, especially if you're a birder. And while these birds are common, there are a lot of really interesting things about them that you may not know. So here are 5 interesting facts about finches that you probably didn't know. Number 1. Finches are very poorly labeled. In the world of birds, species aren't always grouped together correctly, and furthermore, don't always have names that even make sense. For example, purple finch and house finch both have finch in the name, and both are true finches, so we're all good there. Redpolls and siskins are also finches, even though they don't have finch in the name. But then we get to pine grosbeak and evening grosbeak. Both are in the finch family, even though they're called grosbeaks. Other grosbeaks like the rose-breasted grosbeak are in the same family as cardinals, and aren't even in the finch family at all. Then don't even get me started on Darwin's finches in the Galapagos. Those are labeled as finches but are actually in the tanager family, so completely off on that one. Labeling in the bird world is ever changing, and sometimes species even disappear due to classifications. This was the case with a bird known as the hoary redpoll, which based on data was decided to simply be the same species as the common redpoll, and was eventually lumped together in a species just labeled redpoll. The moral of the story is that bird names and classifications don't always tell the whole story, and that is certainly the case for finches. Number 2. Many finches have migrations that are drastically different than those of other birds. Most birds migrate in a somewhat predictable way. In the spring they move north to their breeding areas, and in winter they head back south. Many finches migrate in a very different way. A handful of species, some of which include crossbills, evening grosbeaks, and redpolls, have what are called eruptive migrations. These migrations are very different from year to year, and matter almost entirely on how abundant their food sources are in the northern forests of North America. When food sources, especially conifer cone crops, are good, these birds have no reason to move. But if they're bad, then these eruptive species spread out over the continental United States, sometimes in extremely large numbers. In some years, no finch species erupt into the continental US, while in others, one or multiple species do, moving south and allowing birders and feeder watchers who don't typically get to enjoy these birds to see them. By studying northern conifer crops, experts have to a degree been able to figure out which species are likely to be on the move during the winter time. This is referred to as the winter finch forecast, and is now put out every year for people to see and enjoy and hopefully get them excited and geared up for a winter finch eruption. While the winter finch forecast does paint a pretty good picture of what we can expect in terms of these birds' movements, just like anything in the natural world, they are very hard to predict, so there still will be some surprises even if the forecast is pretty accurate. Number 3. House finches were not originally native to the eastern United States. One finch species that is not eruptive is the house finch. These red and brown birds are very common at bird feeders and thrive in backyards. While they now reside in pretty much every corner of the United States, they actually weren't always native to the eastern half of the country at all. Originally, house finches only lived in the western US, but they were transported to the eastern US, New York specifically, in an attempt to sell them as pets. These house finches, dubbed Hollywood finches at the time, never really caught on as pets, and many of them were simply set free in the 1940s. The released house finches thrived, and over time spread across the country, eventually leading to the range map that we are now familiar with today. Number 4. Finches have extremely specialized bills. While all birds have bill adaptations that help them forage for food, finches have some of the most unique. Many finches have short but conical bills that help them break open seeds. Some, such as evening grosbeaks, have even more of a heavy-duty bill, capable of crushing things that are too large for other finches such as pine siskins to even deal with. While these birds certainly have specialized bills, in terms of uniqueness, there are very few that rival the crossbill. As their name would suggest, the upper and lower mandible of the crossbill point different directions upward and downward. They use these odd-looking bills to open up conifer cones to get the seeds inside, thus taking advantage of a food source that other birds may have trouble accessing. Look for crossbills moving in flocks, going from tree to tree feeding to get a view of these unique birds in action. Number 5. Finch colors can change based on diet. It's a pretty well-known fact that diet can be a contributor when it comes to animal coloration, with possibly the most well-known example being flamingos. However, Not many people know that it's actually diet that contributes to the color of some of the most common and well-known finch species. For instance, goldfinches get their bright yellow color from pigmentations called carotenoids that they acquire from a diet rich in them. Male house finches get their bright red color from a diet with the same pigmentation. Even more interesting is the fact that house finches that don't have many of these pigments can look orange or yellow. Studies found that female house finches typically pick the brighter males, so having a lot of this pigment may be a sign of good health in individual birds. Another interesting tidbit of information is that there's an even more commonplace carotenoids are seen in nature, especially in fall. Carotenoids are responsible for the bright color of leaves that turn before dropping. In reality, the leaves already have these pigments in them all along, but once there's less chlorophyll in the leaves, the pigment shows through. Finches are certainly fascinating, and I hope that you learned a thing or two from this video. If you found one of the facts particularly interesting, let me know in the comments below. And also, if there's some facts that you think are really cool about finches you'd like to share, put those in the comments below as well. If you like this video, take a look at one of our other videos on birds, and as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.